How do you operate and run your brain to maximum usefulness, right? They say the person only uses what, 10% of their brain at most. How true that is, not sure. But this morning, reading the memory book by Harry Lorraine and Jerry Lucas. Harry Lorraine and Jerry Lucas. So, how does our brain work? Okay, so this is going to be a little bit, so just kind of give you a precursor of what's to come. Tell you exactly how our brain works and far as how to get what you want, and then also how our brain makes decisions. This is really, really, really vital in any area of your life, and it makes you awaken to realize that you think that you've been making conscious decisions, but you really haven't. So our brain works in a way where we see in pictures. So how did I come to this conclusion? Not personal conclusion, but just to this, it was reinforced this morning. I was going over some numbers over a marketing campaign, and it took a little longer for me to understand my own numbers. I'm more of a right brain thinker, more creative. I like to talk about big ideas, philosophy, as you can see by watching this YouTube channel. And most people who are left brain people who are more analytical, more detail oriented, numbers supposedly come easier to those people. So in my idea, it's just like there's something I don't know, because we can have the ability to switch from one hemisphere to the next. We can sync hemispheres and use a little bit of both. So really, it led me to reading about the memory book. And in the beginning of the memory book, it talks about how our brain actually operates, how you can remember or learn anything as long as it's associated to something that you already know or remember. For example, you gave in the example EGBDF. If you're doing musical scales, in order to remember that, they use the word called mnemonics. So every good boy does fine. So, okay, I can remember EGBDF because it's in correlation to something that I already know. So, if you want to remember something or learn something, you have to associate it to something that you already know. So, what does that insinuate? It insinuates that our brain primarily sees in pictures. Our brain is like an internal movie screen. So we necessarily don't see with our eyes. We have, like one guy says, the difference between eyesight and mind sight. So we see through pictures. So pictures have a radical, or very, I'll use another word. It has a very, see, when I say radical, I'll probably put an image in your mind as well. It has it's very powerful in our brain. That's why obviously advertising companies use it, marketing, television. That's why it's such a powerful medium, is pictures, images, and video, because our brain registers with that. So how we make decisions, I made a comment on somebody else's YouTube referring to religion and a specific race, and it says, like, how can these people be in such blindness to this when logically all the facts are there? And along my journey, I've research people and brighter people who are much smarter than me. And especially in the book Influence, it talks about this. Our brains do not make decisions based on logic initially. They really, really don't. We are emotional beings. If not 95%, 100% of our decisions are based emotionally. 100%. And we justify our decisions rationally. Now, dealing with religion, and this is irrelevant if you're religious or not, but just because this consumes such a large amount of the population, as far as their actions, is religion. It is faith-based. So one guy I was watching on a video, he said he didn't understand how so many people could completely consume themselves into a religion or an idea based solely on faith, with no facts whatsoever. And you see this even in marketing campaigns, TV. Like when we're in movie theaters, we basically suspend all disbelief. Even though consciously we recognize that we're in a movie theater when we walk in, But once the story starts to develop, if you're so consumed with the video and the images and the storyline of it, the pictures, the images, everything, you suspend disbelief and you believe that you are there. That's why you cry during movies. That's why you laugh. That's why you feel emotion. It stirs up emotion in you because the pictures and the images in your brain, it sees it as truth. That's why videos, images, movies, they're so powerful. They're absolutely so powerful on how our brain operates. And you actually will live out the pictures in the movies that you see in the physical. Our brain, it's unable to separate the two. So back to what I was saying earlier, it's our brains don't make decisions based on logic initially. They just really, really don't. They make decisions based on emotion, feelings, attitudes, pictures, images. And those images, pictures, and all those things, they create those feelings and emotions that create us to make a decision, and then we justify logically, well, you know what, I do need this toaster because so-and-so. But in reality, let's say that toaster had a picture, an image of a happy family. And let's say, hypothetically, that your family wasn't as happy. So immediately you thought, I would love to have my family make my family happy and have a joyous family and feel love in our family. So if you show a loving family sitting over there looking at a toaster, you immediately associate that feeling or emotion to something that you would love to have in your own family. So you end up buying it, and then you justify saying, well, you know that old toaster, yeah, it's about 5 years old, and this one has a better one anyway, so let's just get it. So when somebody asks you why you got it, you're not going to say, well, I saw the picture on there and I had a great emotion, a great emotional feeling of the family life, and I really love to have that family life, so I bought it. You would say, no, we needed a new one. That thing is just old. Our brain rationalizes stuff. It rationalizes after the fact, but emotionalizes before. So it's important that we realize this and understand how our brains really, really operate. And it's a daily thing, even for me, to understand. So going back to this guy, I made a comment on this guy. He was like, I don't understand how our people could follow this certain doctrine. It's because there's an emotional connection to it. It's an emotional connection. A lot of people stick to an idea or belief or even a situation because they will stick to it because it ensures their survival. It's two programs that we operate off of, according to some people. It's survival and reproduction. So we will stick to a specific situation, belief, or attitude if, let's say, hypothetically, our whole family and close friends are in alignment with those ideas, beliefs, and attitudes. Now, even if logically it doesn't make sense, we will still stick with it because it ensures our survival with this group, because we want to be loved on such a deeper level. If we start to veer off that group, our survival is at stake. Because thousands and thousands of years ago, if you separate yourself from the group, your chances of dying go way, way up. Right? Your fear of being ostracized from your group. So this is very, very, very important. It hits us on an emotional level. That's why I made a comment, not because I'm so bright, because I basically, quote this guy, Pablo Picasso. He says, good artists copy, great artists steal, right? So the comment I made was based off a bunch of other guys who I've studied, and basically the comment was the reason these people are following this, even though it's not serving them, is because, most importantly, they rationalize an emotional decision. They're afraid that if they leave their group, what that will mean for them and their survival. And the only way to get away from that, see, if you make an emotional decision, the only way to make another decision is it has to be an equally or more painful emotional decision. Tony Robbins says there's two things we have. We move towards pleasure or we move away from pain. And more people will do things to move away from pain than they will to get pleasure. So, and my response is, the only way for somebody to basically release an idea or a belief that's not serving them is to experience so much pain, something that rocks and shakes them at the core, that's linked to that belief or attitude, that they have no choice but to go the opposite direction and seek other answers. Now, one guy says rock bottom is overrated. I definitely agree with that. But unfortunately, under some circumstances, we must allow ourselves to become emotionally involved, allow ourselves basically to have such a situation that will push us away from that idea or belief. If that makes any sense. Hopefully that does. As you can see, I'm a very visual person as I use my hands. But how our brain works in a nutshell, we think in pictures. We think in pictures. So let's say you have a goal down. For me personally, I wrote down a number goal, but then I thought, yes, this is the number, but how do I feel about it when I write this number goal down? And what is the picture that's illuminated in my brain once I look at this? Because that's where you're really going to. You're really going towards the picture of it and the feeling and emotion that you have behind it, right? That's the sweet spot. How do you feel once you see this goal? And can you actually see it clearly and vividly in a picture? If you're unable to, then you might need to find something else that you can vividly picture and see in your brain. Because that's how our brains operate. That's how it works. And it gives a lot of things in this book, the memory book, about exercises that you can do to strengthen your brain. But all that to say, we're not rational beings whatsoever. We're all emotional. I just ran an ad campaign just now. Basically, the conversions weren't too good the first 2 days, but then I looked at the copy that I wrote, and I realized if you read the book Influence, when you have a call to action at the end, people respond to fear of loss and scarcity. That's just what it is. Because you could write, save 50% off on this product. You can write, you're going to buy one, get 5 free. People are like, oh yeah, that's cool. But if I say you could buy one, get 5 free, and we only have 3 left, three of these offers left, then you start getting emotional because you don't want to miss out. You don't want to lose. See, most people, they don't want to lose more than they want to gain. Even yours truly. Fortunately, that's just how we're wired. So my conversions weren't so great in the beginning, but then I switched a little bit of the copy at the end. That's why you always see in commercials for limited time only, limited available, only a few left, hurry up, flash sale, they're going out the door. It's basically like a fear tactic, but it gets people to take action. Because most people will not move towards something that'll benefit them. They only want to move away stuff that's going to equal them pain. See, that's how you know. Rationally, that doesn't necessarily make sense. But emotionally, it's like, oh my God, I don't want to miss out. I lose. I got to grab all the resources I can because I don't know. I don't want to die. People don't want to die more than they want to live. Right? Or people want to stay away from death more than they want to actually live a great life. This is how our brains work. So this stuff is powerful. So I would suggest just study this stuff, read it. Hopefully I gave you some great value today on how our brains work. We see in pictures, how we're wired to move away from pain than we are to move towards pleasure. And we're not rational beings. We're 100% emotional from what I've seen and what I've studied. I may be wrong. But what are your thoughts? What are your comments? Let me know. And yeah, have a great day. Have a very productive day and a day of gratitude. What are you thankful for? What are you thankful for, too, at the bottom? So, have a great one. See you.